I'm just going to start this off with a very simple. This game might just be one of my most favorite games this year. I have really enjoyed playing this, and there's a really interesting story as to why down at the end of the video. But today, on That Game Review Show, my name is Terrell, and I will be taking a look at My Memory of Us. My Memory of Us opens with a man narrating about how the most amazing things can happen on even the most ordinary of days. All this while a little girl is making her way to his very bookstore from the subway station. While she looks for a new story, she stumbles across a book that is filled to the absolute brim with times long gone. Our narrator, and also the owner of this bookstore, sits down with her and starts to tell her a tale of long ago. He begins to tell you, and this is where the true part of the game begins, by showing you himself as a younger child, and more of a thief in these days as he ducks around the rooftops and is avoiding the looks of the guards. But little did he know that on this average ordinary day he would meet his best friend, a young girl who would mean so much to him going forward. We watch them go on a few extravagant adventures together while everything is nice and peaceful and right in the land, until, and this is leading up to the main game's premise, the main overall premise even, the invasion of the robot army. As the robot army invades the land and starts to separate the people and cause a great deal of war and hardship throughout it, they go around separating people, marking them with red and marking them with gray. If you're gray, you're fine, you're a normal person, but if you're red, you are marked as the ones who cause the problems, the evil in the world. And in case you haven't figured it out yet, this game is based on a steampunk version of the invasion of Poland. My Memory of Us just truly captures what the feelings and such were like before, during, and later into the escaped and free part of the war and the post-war. It shows you the complete story arc of being a child in this unforgiving land of Nazi occupation, as well as showing you truly what happens when you and your friend become separated by nothing more than a simple little detail, and how adopting those ideologies can keep you together, but may even include you into a greater deal of terror and hardship. However, I don't want to spoil the entire game for you. It's not my style, unlike James, who can take an hour to explain to you the entirety of a game. I wish for you to truly go and experience this game. I'm telling you that right now. I find this game comparable with things like Valiant Hearts, with how it presents itself, really. It's a 2D side-scrolling puzzle game that has, random elements of a little bit more intensity. I wouldn't call it action per se, but it's more intensity. It tries to bring you in a little closer with using different types of gameplay styles and little action set pieces that wake you up and break out of the ordinary loop to which it becomes. All the puzzles in this game do vary in variety, however. They will not really leave you stumped, but a few times you may need to set the controller down and take a break, and by the time you come back, you'll realize how easy the actual puzzle was and how stupid you are for not seeing it at first. However, this is only if you're truly like me. The game also really does want you to understand the importance of these two characters and what skills they bring to the table by having you separate them and use them to complete a room. Using their antiquated skill sets, the boy being more sneaky and the girl being more speedy. These things are used very well, in my opinion. They are heavy-handed on what needs to be done, and there's not a lot of variety outside how you complete a level. However, these can be used effectively, and I do believe that they have been here, as using them and separating them for certain rooms is absolutely necessary and will dawn you the correct answer in the puzzle or in the overall progression of the game. The game is also fairly simple and shouldn't eat a whole lot of your time. It taking me roughly about 6 hours to complete it for my first playthrough, and it's only really about 2 hours if you know what you're doing and you've seen all the puzzles before. The game is also fairly simple and shouldn't eat up a whole lot of your time. Overall, it took me about 6 hours to go through my first playthrough, and if you know what you're doing and you know where all the puzzles and all the memories are, you can complete this game in 2 hours. I've seen it done. A very good chunk of the puzzles are very different and they stay varied, and the game really doesn't overstay its welcome by repeating puzzles a lot and having you go through the same things. It's a very linear game, and there is a gameplay loop to the overall level, but by the time you really start to get bored with it, the game is over. While the game is very linear, it feels linear even while you play it, there is a little bit of incentive to looking around and maybe even engaging with a more difficult puzzle, as there are memories for you to find. These memories are of characters in game who I believe are based off of actual people from the Polish resistance and the Polish army who fought and died and, went through the war. These people are found throughout all levels and are a fun little thing to find if you're feeling like you need a little bit of extra challenge, I'll say. Stylistically, the game does try to approach itself as more of a, what I'm going to call a Schindler's List-esque style, where it is majority black and white, but then it starts to throw in the color red as more of a thing to pop out and show you what's important for what you need to get done, i.e., it shows the difference between the people. The reds are symbolism of the Jewish, those are the people who are marked, and it also symbolizes kind of the evil in the world, but it also shows you what you can interact with to surpass a certain section and level, because if it's red, it's interactable. This style really does play off of the gameplay really well, having you look for the red things and seeing how they plug into each other, seeing how they flow through certain currents for maybe an electrical panel or something like that. The game really does use that style that it has created for itself, as well as the gameplay variations between the characters, to its advantage, I would say, to really immerse you into what's going on in the world and make you care a little bit about these two kids and the struggle that they are going through, which is to be able to enjoy the good times again, but also to feel safe again. The game overall has a very bleak, very depressing feel to it throughout most of the game, as you start happy and then you go into what is German occupation, and you have to get separated from people. You are, and now an outcast. You watch war happen. You see what happens later throughout the war, as you honestly should be trying to escape, but go through all the motions of German occupation. Some of the game, I will admit, is a little predictable, but if you give yourself enough investment into it, it will return for you in emotion. It will give you what you seek for out of the emotion in the game by not only hitting you a little harder towards the end, but resolving onto a nice, warm note that is honestly, even if you don't care that much, kind of nice to see and not at all what I was expecting, but I always had that thought in the back of my mind. The game My Memory of Us is a game that I just happened to come across by pure accident. I woke up to it one morning and it was in my recommended feed from the new Nintendo YouTube channel. It was a new video that they had just uploaded not too long before I woke up, actually. So, like I do in the morning, I just put something on in the background, and I watched this video first thing in the morning when I woke up, and I knew the minute I saw the design that I was fully enthralled with this world and I just had to play it. I went so far as to showing it to my friends and colleagues at work because I just had to tell people about this game. I really liked how this game looked going into it, and I enjoyed it the entire way through. I'm a big history guy, and I feel if you are into history like I am, and you just need a quick little story to get you through that, doesn't really have a whole lot to it in the grand scheme of things, but is just one of those stories that you can come back to and have fond memories of, overall, I think My Memory of Us is well worth the entrance point that you can pay for it. And with it being on Nintendo Switch, I can only recommend it more, as it's a game that I was very easily able to pick up and put down at a moment's notice, and when I finally did get to the end, I was very happy to have gotten there, and I do plan to go through and play it again. I think it has some replayability. I want to find the rest of the memories that I didn't find, and I do think it has enough replayability there to where you can get at least 1 to 2 playthroughs out of it, occasionally once every so often, something similar to like Portal. You can't play it every day, but it is a game where you come back to it with fond memories and a world that you wish to maybe remind yourself of what it was like at one point. And it only is sitting at about $20 on the Nintendo eShop, so I highly encourage you to go check it out for yourselves. And honestly, with that all being said, I do want to take a quick minute here at the end of the video to just thank my co-hosts Matthew and James, especially James, for covering me while I was doing my finals at school. It really saved my ass. I was able to pull a B out of my English class from a grade that I didn't know how I was going to do on my paper, and I was able to study and at least pass my math class. So big thank you to you, James. I absolutely love you for covering for me, and it was a fantastic fact that you did. And Matthew, you have worked your ass off through your finals week while you were also prepping to graduate. So congratulations to you, as well as good job on getting that fucking video out, man. I didn't know when you were going to get it out. But with that little caveat being said, it will be Matthew's week next week. I don't know what you've got planned, buddy, but I hope it's great. And thank you guys for watching once again. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in a couple weeks with some Uncharted gameplay.